Hello, coin enthusiasts and history buffs. Welcome back to the channel, where we dig deep into the world of rare coins and uncover hidden treasures. Top 1 today, we're going to take a closer look at a classic piece of American currency, the 1950 United States wheat penny. Now, you might think, a penny? How valuable could that be? Well, stick with us until the end, because this humble coin could be worth a fortune. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln wheat cent, was produced by the U.S. Mint from 1909 until 1958. The design features a portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that has become one of the most iconic in American coinage. However, today, we're focusing on a specific year, 1950, and some special characteristics that make this penny stand out among others from its time. The 1950 wheat penny was issued during the post-World War II era, a time of economic recovery and change in the United States. The country was transitioning from wartime rationing to peacetime prosperity, and coins like the wheat penny played a role in the daily lives of millions of Americans. But what makes this coin so sought after by collectors today? To understand the value, we need to dive into the details of this specific year. Most of the 1950 wheat pennies that were minted are not especially rare. In fact, the 1950 penny was produced in large quantities, both in the Philadelphia Mint and in Denver. But here's the twist, not all of them are created equal, and some are extremely rare. The first factor to consider is the condition of the coin. As with any collectible, the state of preservation is crucial. The 1950 wheat penny comes in several grades, and a coin in mint state condition, meaning it has no wear and tear and looks almost as fresh as the day it was minted, can fetch a higher price than a well-circulated penny. In fact, many 1950 pennies were used in daily transactions and are now heavily worn, which makes the pristine ones all the more valuable. But what really sends some of these coins into the stratosphere of value is a specific variety, particularly the 1950D. This coin, minted in Denver, was initially thought to be quite common. However, over the years, numismatists and collectors have discovered that a particular batch of these pennies was struck with a die that caused the D Mintmark to be weaker or partially missing. This subtle error, which often goes unnoticed by the untrained eye, can significantly increase the value of the coin. Additionally, some collectors look for other rare variations, like the 1950 wheat penny with a double die obverse, where the image of Abraham Lincoln appears slightly doubled due to an error in the minting process. Double die coins are highly prized in the collecting community because they're rare and unique, making them valuable to those lucky enough to find one. Of course, the rarity of these coins alone isn't enough to determine their value. The market for rare coins can be volatile, and the demand for certain types of wheat pennies fluctuates over time. However, coins in exceptional condition or with rare minting errors can command high prices at auctions or among collectors. So, how much is the 1950 wheat penny really worth? Well, the value of this coin can vary greatly depending on its condition, variety, and any unique features it might have. A common 1950 wheat penny, in average condition, might only be worth a few cents above face value. However, if you're lucky enough to come across a coin that's been well preserved, or even better, one that has a rare minting error, you could be looking at a much more substantial return on your investment. For those looking for a truly spectacular find, a flawless, uncirculated 1950 D wheat penny with a weak D Mintmark or a double die obverse has been known to sell for tens of thousands of dollars. But here's the real kicker: if you happen to have a 1950 wheat penny that combines all these rare qualities, perfect condition, a rare error, and maybe even a unique historical story attached to it, then you could be looking at a coin worth as much as $5 million. Yes, that's right, $5 million. A coin that was once only worth 1 cent could now be worth more than a luxury home or even a private jet, depending on its rarity and condition. Imagine stumbling upon one of these hidden treasures in your change jar or coming across one at a garage sale. It's a possibility that makes any coin collector's heart race with excitement. Before you rush to check your old pennies, keep in mind that finding one of these high-value coins is extremely rare. However, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and you never know when you might come across a piece that's worth more than its weight in gold. Top 2 1945 today, we're diving into the fascinating world of one of the most iconic coins in US history, the 1945 Wheat Penny. A small, unassuming piece of currency, but one that might just be hiding in your collection, waiting to make you a fortune now. If you're like most people, you probably have a few pennies floating around in a drawer or jar, right? Well, here's something you might not know. Among those pennies, there could be one that's worth far more than its 1 cent face value. The 1945 Wheat Penny, in particular, is a coin that's become highly sought after by collectors, and for good reason. Let's rewind the clock to 1945. The United States was emerging from the chaos of World War II. It was a year of transition, both in the nation's history and in the world of coinage. The government was still recovering from the effects of the war, but the economy was starting to get back on track. During this time, the U.S. Mint was busy producing these wheat pennies, which were part of the series that started in 1909 to honor the 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. If you look closely at a 1945 wheat penny, you'll notice two features that set it apart from other coins: the iconic image of Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the wheat stalks on the reverse. These symbols are more than just artistic, they represent American values like resilience, unity, and the agricultural roots that helped build the nation. So, why is the 1945 wheat penny so valuable? It all boils down to rarity, condition, and a few key characteristics that make certain coins stand out. First, it's important to note that most of the 1945 pennies produced were in high circulation, meaning they were used in everyday transactions and are now often worn down, with visible scratches, discoloration, or other signs of age. However, a coin in pristine condition, meaning it has little to no wear and retains most of its original features, is incredibly rare and highly sought after. Even though millions of 1945 wheat pennies were minted, very few of them have survived in perfect or near-perfect condition. These well-preserved coins are what collectors dream of. Now, the 1945 penny is typically not considered rare in general, but certain varieties can make all the difference. For example, the 1945 wheat penny, minted in San Francisco, is one of the more valuable varieties of the year. The Mintmark S indicates where it was produced, and depending on the coin's condition and specific characteristics, this could lead to an increased value. Coins with higher grades, like MS65 or higher, are often worth significantly more than a regular 1945 penny. Another key factor that can increase the value of the 1945 wheat penny is the presence of minting errors. Coin collectors have a keen eye for identifying these unique imperfections, such as double strikes or unusual die cracks, which can turn a common penny into a highly prized item. A 1945 penny with a significant mint error could easily increase its value by thousands of dollars. Let's talk about the specific grading scale used to evaluate coins. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Coins are graded from poor, which means it's heavily worn and barely recognizable, to mint state, which means the coin looks like it just came out of the mint. A 1945 wheat penny that is graded in mint state condition is far rarer than one in poor condition, and as you can imagine, it's worth much more. These uncirculated or nearly uncirculated coins are the ones that truly drive up the value. But here's the kicker: while most 1945 wheat pennies are worth only a few cents above face value, there's one rare exception that can blow your mind. In recent years, some 1945 wheat pennies with perfect or near-perfect qualities have sold at auction for jaw-dropping amounts. And here's where it gets truly exciting: the rarest of the rare, the highest quality 1945 wheat pennies with errors or exceptional preservation, have sold for as much as $6 million. Yes, you heard that right, $6 million for a single penny. Imagine stumbling upon this kind of treasure in a collection you've inherited, or even finding one at a garage sale or in a jar of old coins. It may sound like a long shot, but this kind of discovery is every coin collector's dream, and it happens more often than you might think. To put it simply, the value of a 1945 wheat penny hinges on its condition, rarity, and any unique features it may have. If you've got a coin from 1945 that's been well cared for and is in excellent shape, it could be worth far more than you imagined. But don't forget, the ultimate prize is a coin that combines exceptional preservation with rare minting errors. That's when you could be looking at a truly spectacular find. Top 3 1953 today, we're going to talk about a classic coin that many collectors overlook, but one that has the potential to be worth much more than you'd expect, the 1953 Wheat Penny. If you're holding onto some old pennies, this video might just change the way you look at them. The Wheat Penny, first minted in 1909 to commemorate President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, became a staple in U.S. currency until 1958. These small but significant coins feature the profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front and a design of 2 stalks of wheat on the back. The 1953 version, in particular, holds a special place in the hearts of coin collectors because of its historical significance, unique characteristics, and the surprising value it can hold. To put things in perspective, the 1953 Wheat Penny was minted during the post-World War II era, when the United States was experiencing an economic boom. The country was moving away from wartime rationing, and people were beginning to enjoy a period of prosperity. Coinage during this time saw subtle design and minting changes, but the Wheat Penny design remained the same, with its famous wheat stalks on the reverse and Lincoln's likeness on the obverse. But you might be asking, what makes the 1953 Wheat Penny stand out from the millions of pennies produced every year? Well, the short answer is rarity and condition. Most of the 1953 pennies produced were used in everyday transactions and circulated extensively, meaning they've been worn down over time. A coin that's been circulated for decades is usually in poor condition, with visible scratches, discoloration, and other marks of wear. However, the key to unlocking the potential value of a 1953 Wheat Penny lies in finding one that is in excellent condition, preferably one that's uncirculated. An uncirculated coin is one that has never been used in circulation, meaning it has retained most of its original features. These coins are far rarer than their worn counterparts and are highly prized by collectors. In fact, a 1953 Wheat Penny in mint or near mint condition can be worth significantly more than a typical penny. If you find one that has been kept in a protective case or stored carefully over the years, it could command a much higher price than you might expect. But that's not all. There are certain varieties of the 1953 Wheat Penny that can boost its value even further. The 1953 D Wheat Penny, minted in Denver, is one such variety that is highly coveted. The D Mintmark indicates that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint, and it is generally more difficult to find than its Philadelphia counterparts. Pennies from the Denver Mint tend to have a higher value, especially if they're in pristine condition. Collectors are always on the lookout for well-preserved 1953 D coins, as they are considered rarer and more desirable. Another factor that can increase the value of a 1953 Wheat Penny is any minting error or unique variation. Mistakes made during the minting process can make a coin far more valuable, especially if the error is rare. For example, a double die error, where the image of Lincoln appears slightly doubled due to a malfunction during the coin striking process, can be worth a considerable amount. These coins are often considered a find for collectors because of their uniqueness. The value of these coins can also depend on the specific grading scale used by collectors. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. Coins are graded from poor to mint state, with the latter being the highest grade. An uncirculated 1953 Wheat Penny with a high grade can command much more on the market than a coin that has visible wear and tear. So, what does all of this mean for the value of a 1953 Wheat Penny? Well, most of these coins in average condition are worth only a few cents above their face value. But when you find one that's in exceptional shape, or even one with a rare minting error or unique feature, the value skyrockets. For the lucky few who have managed to acquire a flawless, uncirculated 1953 Wheat Penny with a rare minting error or an excellent grade, the value could be far more than you imagined. In fact, some of these coins have sold for as much as $3 million. Yes, you heard that right, $3 million. A single penny, which was once worth only 1 cent, could now be worth more than most people's entire homes. That's the kind of excitement that comes with rare coin collecting. Imagine having a coin like that in your collection. It's the kind of find that coin collectors dream about, and it's possible if you know what to look for. To wrap it up, the 1953 Wheat Penny is one of those coins that has the potential to surprise even the most seasoned collectors. Whether you stumble upon one in a collection you inherited or find one while rummaging through old change, it's worth taking the time to check its condition, mint mark, and any unique features that might make it more valuable. Top 4 1954 Today, we're uncovering the hidden value of a coin that many people overlook, but that has the potential to make you a small fortune, the 1954 Wheat Penny. While a penny might not seem like much, you'd be surprised at just how valuable this particular year's coin can be, especially if you know where to look. The 1954 Wheat Penny, part of the Lincoln series, is a piece of American history. These pennies, first minted in 1909, feature a portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that's become synonymous with U.S. currency. On the reverse, you'll find 2 stalks of wheat, a nod to America's agricultural roots. Though it might seem like just another everyday penny, the 1954 version has some key characteristics that make it especially interesting to collectors. Let's set the scene for 1954. The U.S. was in the midst of a post-war boom. The country was experiencing economic prosperity after World War II, and people were spending more freely. The 1954 Wheat Penny was minted during this time, meaning it was heavily circulated and spent in everyday transactions. Coins like this were a part of daily life, used in everything from grocery stores to gas stations. But while the 1954 penny might have been ubiquitous back then, it's now becoming harder to find in good condition. Like any collectible, the value of a 1954 Wheat Penny is largely determined by its condition. Coins that have been in circulation for decades tend to show wear. The edges become worn down, and the designs become harder to distinguish. The more worn the coin is, the less it's generally worth. But here's where it gets exciting: coins that have been carefully preserved or kept in pristine condition are rare and valuable. A 1954 Wheat Penny that's been well taken care of, or even one that's uncirculated, is much rarer than you might think. Even though millions of these coins were minted, very few have survived in top-tier condition. That's why collectors are always on the lookout for a 1954 Wheat Penny that's in mint state or close to it. Coins that have been stored in protective cases, for example, tend to hold their value far better than those that have been handled and tossed around in pockets. But it's not just about condition. The specific variety of the 1954 penny you have can also make a huge difference in its value. For example, the 1954 D Wheat Penny, minted in Denver, is one that collectors often seek out. The Mintmark D indicates that it was made in the Denver Mint, and some years, certain mint marks are rarer than others. While the 1954 D isn't as rare as some other varieties, it's still more valuable than a regular 1954 penny minted in Philadelphia. Another aspect that can increase the value of a 1954 Wheat Penny is the presence of any minting errors. These errors can make the coin truly unique and highly desirable. For example, a double die error, where the image of Lincoln appears doubled due to an error during the striking process, can turn an otherwise common penny into a rare treasure. These kinds of mistakes make the coin stand out from the rest and are exactly what collectors love to find. Minting errors like this can add thousands of dollars to the value of the coin, depending on how significant the error is. That if you're lucky enough to have a 1954 Wheat Penny with an error, it could be worth far more than a typical penny. But even without an error, a 1954 Wheat Penny in uncirculated condition can fetch a premium price. It all depends on the grade and the quality of the coin. Coins are graded based on their level of wear, with mint state or uncirculated being the highest possible grade. These coins, which show little to no signs of wear, are the ones that attract the highest prices in the market. The excitement doesn't end there. The market for rare and valuable coins can fluctuate, but one thing is certain: the value of the 1954 Wheat Penny can climb significantly if the coin is in exceptional condition. If you have a high-quality example of this coin, especially one with a rare minting error or an unusual variety, you could be sitting on a very valuable piece of American history. So, how much is the 1954 Wheat Penny really worth? The typical coin in good condition is worth just a few cents above its face value. But when you factor in the rarity of a well-preserved coin, a high-grade variety, or a coin with a minting error, the price jumps up. Depending on the condition, these coins can sell for anywhere from a few dollars to hundreds of dollars in certain cases. But here's the most exciting part: some of these rare 1954 wheat pennies, especially those in pristine, uncirculated condition, can be worth up to $2 million. That's right, $2 million. A penny that you might think is just a tiny relic of the past could actually hold a staggering amount of value. It's a reminder that sometimes, the most unassuming things can turn out to be treasures. Whether you inherited a jar of coins, found one in an old box, or just happened to stumble upon one while going through change, make sure to check your 1954 wheat pennies carefully. If you've learned something new today and are excited to dive deeper into the world of coin collecting, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future discoveries. Who knows, your next treasure might be right in your pocket. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting!